Hey everyone, welcome to Wealth Redefined. I'm your host, Michael Reynolds, certified financial planner and owner of Elevation Financial on the web at elevationfinancial.com. Thanks for joining me today. Having a fun episode today. A little bit different. I'm going to talk about a list of dumb things I've done with money. I've been kind of thinking about this one for a while and wanted to share it, and going to have fun with it today. So, um, first of all, obviously, I'm a financial advisor, and you would expect me to be good with money. It's kind of a job requirement, right? So before you start worrying, relax. I am indeed good with money. That's good. You can count on that. But I wasn't always, and even today, I'm still not perfect. When working with a professional in any context, it can be really tempting to feel like you're the only one with challenges. It can be easy to feel alone and critical of yourself, and you might feel like everyone has this money stuff figured out, especially your financial advisor. It can lead to feelings of shame or discouragement around money. So here's a secret: no one is perfect when it comes to money. We all make mistakes, and we all have room to grow. And one thing I'm very focused on is helping folks let go of shame and judgment related to money. So I thought it would be fun to be a little bit vulnerable today and demonstrate how imperfect I am as well when it comes to money. And just like many of us, I have a history of making some less than stellar financial decisions. But I've learned from those decisions, and I tend to see them as opportunities for growth. So if you struggle with feelings of shame around money, I hope that seeing my speed bumps along the way will help you feel less alone. And that is the purpose for today's hopefully fun episode. So, without further ado, here are some of the dumb things I have done with money. Number one, racked up a bunch of credit card debt that I couldn't pay. One of the first negative memories I have about my own finances is when I racked up a ton of credit card debt in college and shortly after college as well. I don't remember the exact amount, but I'm pretty sure it was over $50,000. It was a good amount of credit card debt. I also had a bunch of different credit cards, and I played the balance transfer game by moving debt from one card to another in an effort to avoid high interest rates, which eventually caught up with me, as they always do. So, what did I buy with all this credit card debt? It wasn't really one big thing. There's one big thing we'll talk about in the next point, but overall, it was what I would call, death by a thousand cuts. It was eating out, it was electronics, it was furniture, it was travel, it was just living off credit cards with no budget and not paying attention to cash flow at all. So I treated my credit cards like this never-ending supply of money, and really gave no thought to the fact that I would eventually have to pay it back. So eventually I did pay it back, but it took years and it took lots of discipline to stay focused on it. And when I finally paid off my credit card debt, I felt an incredible sense of accomplishment and vowed to never go into credit card debt again. So that was, again, my earliest memory of negative money decisions. Next, I put 100% of trade school tuition on a credit card. I mentioned there was a big purchase. This was the big purchase. So again, this is technically part of the previous point, but it was kind of so crazy, deserves its own section, in my opinion. So, after college, I owned a digital marketing agency, and I was continuing to grow that business, but I was also interested in a part-time career in the wellness industry. So what did I do? I dropped $6,000 on a credit card for a training program in this field without a second thought. I just kind of impulsively paid for the entire thing all at once on a credit card. So I finished the program and worked for a while in the field, and then kind of stopped after a while. It was a great experience, and it led to a really rich community of friends and opportunities. So I don't regret doing it at all. But the part that was not awesome was paying off the credit card at over 20% interest over time. That was not awesome. So in retrospect, I had other options. I could have negotiated a payment plan. I could have delayed it. I could have saved up for it. I could have done many other things that would have saved money and made a lot more sense. But I was feeling impulsive, so I was rewarded by paying lots of interest for years as a result of that, and definitely overpaying um, for that trade school training. So that was fun. All right, next thing: mixed business and personal funds. So I've mentioned that I owned a digital marketing agency for many years before selling it and growing into my career that I have now as a financial advisor. And these days I consider myself pretty business savvy. I consult with business owners on a regular basis and help them with challenges. Um, but that savviness took some time to acquire. In my less savvy days, I was pretty horrible about mixing business and personal finances. I did the very thing that I now caution business owners against. I treated my business like a piggy bank. I pulled money out for all sorts of things that weren't always business related. Not only was I doing harm to my business, but I was also, destroying that corporate veil that was designed to provide liability protection to me. If there had been any sort of major lawsuit or liability issue, my personal assets would likely be fair game because of my poor management of business funds. Again, using, business cards and, business debit cards and credit cards for non-business expenses, and just kind of mixing those funds together. So luckily, that's all in the past. But I still look back on those days with kind of a cringe, and I'm really thankful I didn't get myself into more trouble. Next, did not pay my quarterly estimates. This happened for a while. So I harp on quarterly estimated taxes a lot. And for really good reason. I've seen so many business owners and freelancers really get into a pickle by not paying their quarterly taxes. So, two of the biggest issues that come from not paying quarterly taxes are: one, your cash flow is ruined because you've got this huge tax bill surprise in April. And two, you get hit with penalties for not paying on schedule. And once you get behind, it can be really difficult to get caught up. I've seen a lot of business owners get in this very deep hole when it comes to taxes. It's hard to climb out of. So, guess what I did for years? You guessed it, I did not pay my quarterly estimates. I distinctly remember some years, looking back at my 5-figure tax bill and just, sinking into depression because I didn't know how I was going to pay it. Um, and so, of course, now I make taxes part of my budget, and it's how I structure my bank accounts. But back in the day, I was really good at ignoring the advice of my accountant, which resulted in penalties and big tax surprises. So, lesson learned. That was a good learning experience for me. So, last thing on my list: overdrafting my checking account. Of all the dumb things I've done with money, this is probably the one that I'm most ashamed of. So, there's that shame coming back again. I've overdrafted my checking account more than once. I'm pretty sure that 99% of people in this country have overdrafted their accounts at least once in their lives. So, you know, no one is immune to this. But there's something about seeing that negative balance along with that $35 kick in the face fee that goes with it that can really destroy your self-esteem. That negative balance, that overdraft fee, it's all just this awful feeling, right? When you look at it and you realize what you've done. Um, and back when I was less financially secure, an overdraft was a pretty disastrous thing, and it was difficult to recover from. In later years, it was more of an inconvenience, but still no less shame inducing. In theory, if you budget your money well and you pay attention, you should never have to worry about overdrafting. But this is not how life works. Life is not always clean and perfect like this. Everyone sometimes gets distracted. Everyone sometimes has these life happens events that can lead to issues like this. So no one is immune to making mistakes with money, including the occasional overdraft. So that's my short list. There's more stuff. That's a list of dumb things I've done with money. I'm sure there's more, but these are the things that stuck out most to me. So I want to kind of close by saying, we all make mistakes with money. You may have your own list of things that you look back on with shame. And, I'm hoping that my list of things helps you feel less alone and feel better about some of the questionable decisions that we all make sometimes with money, and look back on them with shame sometimes. But I encourage you to think about what you've learned from those experiences. How do you handle money differently today as a result of those past money decisions? How have these experiences strengthened your ability to build wealth? While it can be hard to let go of that criticism we directed ourselves, our past experiences with money can have a positive impact on our financial future if we unpack those lessons learned over time. So I hope this has helped you feel less alone and hopefully less shame about your own money decisions in the past, because we all have them. So hope you've had fun with today's episode. And again, hope that helps you feel less alone and in good company with your imperfections when it comes to money decisions, just like all of us. So with that, as always, I invite you every episode, this is no exception, to reach out if you have questions, You're always welcome to go to my website, which is elevationfinancial.com. And instead of, I always invite you to subscribe to book a money session. But if you want to just kind of hang out and subscribe to my email list, that's a great way to get started connecting as well. If you go to my website, scroll to the very bottom. There is an email sign up there. You get emailed whenever I publish a new blog post or podcast episode each week. So feel free to join that if you want to, or you can always book that complimentary money session as well and ask any questions that are on your mind. As always, thanks for joining me today. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.